Yeah, good afternoon, my viewers. I want to also greet you in your own time, if it's not 12 in your own region. I'm happy to bring to you again the trending on the internet, talking about the reactions to EU reports on 2023 presidential poll that was conducted by INEC. I don't know if you have listened to it, the analysis. I would like you to leave sentiment apart and critically evaluate the report yourself. For those of us who have not viewed it in any way rather, I like you to watch the video I'm going to play now, and I want you to do your own analysis. I would like you at the end to comment your view, your own view, on the comment section of my channel. I would like to encourage you also to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that when new videos are being posted, you will receive a notification for your attention. Please stay and watch the video. After that, I'd like to hear your comments.
Well, let's begin what's trending. The European Union Observer Mission report on the 2023 general election, which was rejected by the federal government of Nigeria, continues to generate reactions on social media. The EU Observer Mission in its report stated that the election exposed enduring systemic weaknesses and therefore signal a need for further legal and operational reforms to enhance transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability, further stating that trust in the Independent National Electoral Commission had been severely damaged, especially as a result of the failure to upload the result of the presidential election electronically. On Monday, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Festus Keyamo, in a post on Twitter, stated that there is no election worldwide without irregularities and that the EU report cannot delegitimize the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, Keyamo came under fire after some social media users pulled up page 92 of the EU mission report, highlighting misinformation during the general election, and Keyamo's tweet in which he alleged, by posting a link of a report claiming that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, had paid 2 billion naira to Christian bodies as bribe. Rufai, I don't know if you saw this comment on social media with Festus Keyamo and obviously the federal government, debunking that report as
So I think my reaction is clear. I don't know what the federal government was, or Mr. Dele Alake, I should say, was debunking about the report. It's obvious they didn't, or was rejecting about the report. It's obvious they didn't read it in detail. That report was explicitly clear. And again, kudos to the EU for a good job. Empirical facts and analysis. You see, it's obvious when they read reports like this, they should go and read the methodology. You know, part of the argument they made that Dr. Batieno stated yesterday was the fact that they said 11 analysts analyzed, the reports and all of that. There were some parts of the report that needed analysis based on things that were taken from many sources. So take, for instance, the report talked about how much if political parties spend on campaign online, which you can get those reports from Google AdSense. So those are the empirical facts out there. They also talked about, for all of those that used to abuse Arise TV of bias, the report exonerated Arise TV. We gave 26% coverage to the APC, 26% coverage to the PDP, 19% coverage to Labour Party, which was one of the most balanced coverage. TVC gave 53% to APC coverage. 53%. So you see, facts don't lie, because there were a lot of shenanigans. And I'm saying this, that's why I had to ask our guest yesterday to provide empirical fact that Arise was biased. But thank God the report explicitly stated all of this. And only to crown it all, Mr. Festus Keyamo, a former minister, then a serving minister of the Federal Republic, and another former minister, Mr. FFK, were found to be the bastions of misinformation online.
Yes.
How low can our ministerial positions go in this country? Because of politics? So the report was empirically clear. And all the submissions it made were things based on interpretation that were out there. Talked about the violence that was reported, talked about coverage, talked about participation of women in politics, talked about the dwindling numbers, talked about the methodology at which he did it, empirical analysis. But why is it that people that can't even take the pain to write their own reports are the ones that are quick to condemn reports? And there were recommendations there that if we want to go forward, follow what was simply written in the Ways reports.
Yes, we had the recommendations. Well, all right.
Guard citizens even more and do the same. You know, help ensure that polling areas are clean. Was there no violence? Talked about, we saw the violence that happened in Lagos and other parts of the country. Did not exonerate any party, gave blame to every party necessary. The report was even so detailed to the extent that the hashtags members of various political parties used, things like hashtag Tifnubu, they talked about it, hashtag Obedience, they talked about it, and how all political parties spread hate messaging. So it was not skewed to any political party.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
all political, both APC, Labour, and PDP, we all spread hate messaging.
Yes, it was
and he cautioned them.
Yes.
And how WhatsApp, and we should be careful about WhatsApp. WhatsApp can be a dangerous tool if care is not taken. How WhatsApp was used to spread a great deal of misinformation. The report stated everything clearly, not slanted towards anybody. Yeah. And they said they reject, people reject
well, Festus Keyamo was trending on social media yesterday. Let me take a tweet from JP, I believe. He wrote, breaking, Festus Keyamo and Fanny Kayode made it to page 92 of the EU report for spreading fake news on social media. EU took a screenshot of Mr. Keyamo's fake news tweet. This is a huge embarrassment to the legal profession. ASAN, spreading fake news on social media. Now I know why he has been wailing since the report came out. Ayo.
Yes, I agree that it's quite, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing because when that kind of reports from an organization that have demonstrated that they are, credible, they have a track record of monitoring elections, can slam a public official, especially a senior advocate of Nigeria, it is very embarrassing. And they had proof. One of the things we talked about is that it wasn't just a report that was written by amateurs. They gave evidence, they screenshot messages like that. And we must always remember that whether in political season, whether it's when emotions are high, when you put words out there, there's proof. And proof will outlive you sometimes, especially when you put messages like that on social media. In terms of Mr. Festus Keyamo's statement with regards to it's the courts that will determine whether this government is legitimate or not. Yes, I had to pick that out of that tweet. Absolutely correct. This report is independent, and there was a disclaimer given at the beginning of the report that this does not even represent the views of the EU. This was what the observers had seen on ground and what they were reporting based on facts. The hashtag All Eyes on the Judiciary has been trending. In fact, some people are saying perhaps they should take up a billboard and put it around so that people can see that we are watching and we are looking forward to the judiciary to give justice and be fair in their judgment. Very important. At the end of the day, this report, the way we've made it such a, of course, because of the content of it, is not the deciding factor. At the end of the day, it is the court that will determine whether or not this government is legitimate or not. And so again, hashtag All Eyes on the judiciary.
All right, absolutely.
Okay, this is the way I see it. Keyamo is not the problem. It's not even the issue. Everything that Keyamo has said, what can you controvert there? He says that there are irregularities in elections in other places. Yes, you can supply so many examples in that regard. He says that it's not the EU report that will be the final word on Nigerian elections. You can't controvert that. 3, he says the legitimacy of Tinubu's election does not lie with the EU, but that the EU is an observer mission, And to the extent that we live in an international community, countries cannot just hold elections on their own and expect that the international community will not take an interest in it. So I don't have anything to argue with regard to what Festus Keyamo may have said in terms of reaction. The big point is that the European Union Observer Mission, like other observer missions, have submitted their reports. We had Samson Itodo on this program yesterday, and Samson Itodo of Yaga Africa told us that there's nothing that the EU has said that they too have not said, or that ECOWAS has not said. That report by the EU is not just about criticism, it's also about recommendations. Our key point is that the Nigerian government has a responsibility to look at those recommendations, 6 major recommendations, about areas in which Nigeria's democracy can be deepened and the electoral process can be reformed. Remove ambiguities in the law. You have it on the screen there. You've just put it there.
Yes.
Take another look at INEC. Ensure real-time publication of and access to election results. After all, we had issues with IREV. We had issues with the loading of results. Pay attention more to women participation. Provide protection for media practitioners. These are very serious issues. And address impunity regarding elections. These are very serious issues. Mm-hmm. But what you have brought now, that is also very important, is the role of social media.
Absolutely. The
use of social media to promote what they call alternative facts.
Misinformation.
Was it Conway that came up with that phrase?
Kellyanne Conway.
Yes, Conway that came up with that phrase in the US after an election. People providing alternative truths, which may not necessarily be true. And indeed, in that report, what the report says is the effect of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, a lot of which we saw during that election. That report at page 92, yes, cited Femi Fani-Kayode. What did Femi Fani-Kayode do? They were listing examples. They said Femi Fani-Kayode said Atiku Abubakar had a secret meeting with security chiefs, but that was not true. In the case of Festus Keyamo, they said he promoted a tweet that another platform put out to say that Peter Obi gave bribe to some church leaders, which is also not true. And they concluded on that same page, in citing examples, that a plethora of fake news on social media by Nigerians. And they cited the classical example of Aisha Binani being declared governor of Adamawa State when she had not yet been declared by the relevant authority. So it's not about personalities. It's about the trend that we're dealing with. The deleterious effect of alternative facts propagated through social media by persons who have partisan interests, by ignorant people, by people who collect, how much do they pay them? 10,000, 20,000 naira to malign people hiding under unnecessary anonymity, while we promote the social media as a platform for freedom of expression and also for self-validation and for business. What we see is that there is great danger there in terms of how it is abused by persons. While we defend the right of persons to express themselves, to have free speech, to take advantage of the technology era, what that report reminds us of is how so many people, half of them ignorant, abuse the media to malign people, to promote falsehood. That's the danger of this new technology. These are the bigger issues.
All right, then.